Skipper, was it tough for the fast bowlers to contain runs because from both the side, fast bowlers took a real beating and spinners were dominating?
Yeah, I think with the slow nature of the wicket, it looked a little bit harder for the fast bowlers. But I think, you know, the best time to bat is probably in the power play, and that's when obviously the fast bowlers start their work. So I think on both sides, the power play looked quite challenging with the ball, and then especially I guess in our batting innings, and then the spinners can really get into their work, and it started to slow down a little bit. But yeah, I think it was still a pretty good wicket throughout the game.
Throughout the tournament, India has played really well. Despite the loss, are you just proud of the team for the fact that they did give them good competition in the end? And despite you having to move countries twice, you gave a good performance in the final.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of bittersweet at the end. I think we came up against a good side in the final, but yeah, I think we challenged India at times throughout this game, which was pleasing. I think there was probably a couple of small moments where we let it, I guess, get away from us. But yeah, incredibly proud of this group, the way we've kind of gone about it throughout this tournament. We've had a mix of kind of experienced players, but a few younger players in the squad. So yeah, it's been I guess an easy one to captain. Different guys stepping up at different times throughout the tournament, which has been outstanding. And we came up against a very good team today. We were in the game for most of it, but it was kind of, we probably left maybe 20 runs out there with the bat, and then I think the way kind of Rohit Sharma played kind of took it away from us a little bit.
On hindsight, do you think chasing would have been better, or what do you think about that?
No, I think I think there was probably a little bit more turn second innings. I think it was a pretty consistent pitch all the way through. I think I guess coming off the semi-final where we feel like we can, if we get a total, we can squeeze teams, and we did that for I guess a majority of this game, but. Yeah, I think outside of the power play with the bat, we kind of lost a couple pretty quickly, and then it was definitely a hard wicket to start on, and then yeah, I think we probably left maybe 25 out there, and then that may have been a different game.
Mitchell, you said there were a couple of areas or a couple of times when you could have pushed ahead and you would have seen a kind of windows for New Zealand to come in. What were some of those? Could you just kind of talk us through those moments?
No, I think the intent we had with the bat, especially at the start, was outstanding. It was clearly probably the best time to bat was the power play, and I think the way we went about it for the first kind of 8 overs or so was outstanding, and then it took some brilliance from the spin bowlers to kind of really peg us back and make it, I guess, challenging through that kind of middle phase. We didn't. I guess after the start we were probably thinking 280, 275, but the way they were able to squeeze and build pressure, and then it really, the way Michael Bracewell played at the end got us, up to that kind of that 250 mark, but it was, maybe looking a little bit less.
Yeah, Mitchell, can you really put Pasco on pitches like these actually, because you started off at some point in time, it was 7+ and over, middle overs it dropped before you crossed 5+. 251. Can you really put a Pasco pitches like this at the start? Yeah,
I think it was probably still a pretty good batting wicket, especially first innings. But it's you come up against 4 pretty good spinners on a slightly slow wicket. It's always going to be a challenge. I think we probably could have. I think after the start we potentially could have got more, but I think credit has to go. Especially Kuldeep. Breakthrough straight off the power play, Varun in the power play, and then we know the left arm finger spinners can really squeeze any team. And then I think with the ball we still felt we had a competitive score, but I think when you're 100 for none, it always makes it a bit of a challenge. But I guess proud of the group to keep fighting, keep backing it up in the field, and we were able to keep chipping wickets to make it harder.
Mitch, you're obviously no stranger to like these final defeats in the last few years. How does the feeling now compare to the feeling after the other ones?
Yeah, I guess they're starting to add up a bit now. But yeah, if you make finals, you're coming up against another pretty good team who's also playing some good cricket. So I think, I was proud with the way we fought tonight. I think we pride ourselves on, especially in the field, is not giving up. And I don't think we did throughout that innings. I guess it's bittersweet. You always want to win one of these, and I don't know how many more chances we'll get. But I think this is up there for us. I think we were playing some good cricket leading into this, and we thought we were a real sniff today. But I guess we just got beaten by a good team.
Mitch, what could be missing in the big games, in the big finals, and the same, like a few semi-finals also New Zealand have lost in the 23. You guys again lost to India in the semi-finals So is there something that the knockout punch that is missing? Can you put a finger to it that maybe what is it that is preventing New Zealand from crossing the final hurdle?
I guess we just keep coming up against India, which is always a challenge. No, I think, like I said before, it's, you got to acknowledge that it's a massive game, but I think the way you go about it is you treat it as, all what we've been doing throughout the tournament. We knew the conditions were going to be slightly different again from the semi-final, but, we were ready for that. I thought we still put in a pretty good performance, and we took India deep, but I guess there's always a few moments in every game, let alone every final, where you can potentially look back at, but I guess just the way we kind of kept sticking at it, the way we fought, pretty proud of the group for doing that.
Good game, Mitch. Tough luck. During the drinks break, you had a little chat, and after that, the team changed completely, and you guys came back very strongly. What was the message that you gave your team at that point of time?
We just needed to get Rohit Sharma out by the looks of it, but I think it was, obviously they got off to a good start with some good batting and a good partnership, but I think we still felt through the middle stages you could really squeeze the new batters. It looked like a tough wicket to start on, as it was the other day here. So we're still trying to be aggressive with the ball. Just told someone to potentially change the game with a catch or a run out or something, and I think we were still able to chip wickets out. I think there was a little period of play there before Rohit got out that we definitely started to squeeze, and you could kind of feel something happening. But I think to go run a ball 70 or 80 odd on that wicket was a pretty good knock.
Mitch, the team have faced a little bit of adversity this tournament, a couple of injuries at the start, Rachin's head knock in the tri-series, and obviously a lot of travel throughout the tournament as well. Can you just talk to me about how proud you are of this group overall in the tournament?
Yeah, I mean, it's never going to go perfectly, these tournaments, and I guess with the quick turnaround of games like we had. But I think what's most pleasing is, different guys got opportunities and stepping up is, couldn't be prouder of the group. Guys coming in and out, it's always you obviously want to play every game, but I think, and then obviously the way Chin came back straight away after his head knock and hit the ball running, and KJ flying over, and then pretty much straight in, and I thought he bowled extremely well in the games he played, and obviously a tough one losing Tezza today, but he tried his very best to be ready for this game. So I guess there's always adversity in these tournaments, and you could take it back to a few different things, but I think we didn't really complain about anything. We just kind of get on with it, and that's how we like to operate. And obviously pretty proud of the way we kind of fought throughout this whole tournament, and in different conditions everywhere we went, really.
Last couple.
Yeah. Matt Henry, you talked about him a little bit, but could you just elaborate a little bit? He looked pretty distraught before the game, failing that fitness test. And he's also got a great record taking early wickets against India in big matches. How much did you miss him as a captain?
Yeah, I think I guess he was leading wicket taker going into this game, and he's an outstanding bowler. As we've seen, he seems to be able to nip it on wickets that don't look like they should nip. So I guess we missed that today, and he was, I feel for Matty. he's a massive team man, and like you said, he looked pretty distraught. We just kind of said, like, let's do it for him. I guess he, to come this far and then be injured for the main event was, it's obviously pretty tough for him, and I guess for us. But he tried everything he could to be ready for this game, and unfortunately for us, he wasn't quite there.
Mitch, first of all, congratulations for reaching to the finals. Just wanted to know that in this, looking back in this tournament, if you have seen that the India, New Zealand, Australia and South Africa, these are the 4 teams, they also reached the semi-finals in the last 50-over World Cup as well. So if you look at the setup in ODIs, do you think that these 4 teams, and maybe if you mix England in the mix, and there is a significant difference in quality between these top 5 teams and the rest of the other teams they are playing ODIs?
It's a tough one, I guess. I think obviously clearly India here, understood the conditions in Dubai perfectly and played some good cricket. South Africa are always a very good team, especially with the balance. I guess we were lucky. We had a few all-rounders that could bowl spin as well, which was handy. And I think it's. There is periods through every game where it can shift. You have to kind of stick in for a period of time, and we saw even a couple of games, Afghanistan 30 for 3, and they can end up. You put one big partnership together, you can get yourself up to 300. So it's definitely, I think the format. It's a great format because you need a few guys to step up. You need a team effort to put yourself in a good position. One guy can change it, but I guess in T20, one guy can definitely turn a game away from you. So, we've seen periods throughout this tournament where, teams have been challenged, put under pressure, and if you can kind of weather the storm and get through it, you can really put the pressure back on teams. And I guess India were able to do that here. I guess we were able to do that against South Africa in the semi. I think throughout the different conditions, I think the best teams who were able to adapt the quickest, put themselves in a pretty good position.
Yeah, Rohit Sharma didn't have the great tournament until this final game, and he has a different template if you look at, especially since 2023 ODI World Cup. Was it slightly different, his approach as a New Zealand team found, especially after the initial onslaught, the way he batted in the later part of his innings?
I guess if you were to ask Rohit before the tournament which game would he like to score the most runs, it would probably be the final. But I think his approach, he puts fear in bowlers. That kind of aggressive nature. I think him and Shubman dovetail well. Shubman, will wait for a bad ball, but Rohit is pretty happy to hit bowlers off their lengths. And, I guess the way he goes about it, you might fail a few times, but if you can really, like he did today, if you can really get your team off to a fly, especially on a slower wicket, you put yourself kind of ahead of the game. And he, their power play with the bat was good, and then I guess we're kind of on the back foot from there with them being probably 100 for none. So I think the way he goes about it, he might fail every now and then, but he can potentially turn one game, just by the way he kind of goes about it, and he did that tonight.
Cheers, guys.